Welcome to my poster presentation regarding building user interfaces using structured JSL. A little bit background, I'm working for Murata Electronics in Finland. I'm data integration and data science specialist in data integration team. One of my jobs is to create custom JUMP applications, and how I create them, or rather how I structure my content in those, is topic for this poster. This was originally supposed to be a paper, so I have to go through it very quickly, but it should be fine. Let's get started here. So I think most important thing in this poster is that you should try to mimic JUMP platforms. A reason for this is that users are already familiar with them. So if you can organize your content in similar manner as JUMP does, it's much faster for them to start using your tools. Here we have one example of JUMP platform. In this case, it's a distribution, as it's a very simple one. On left side, we have the launcher, and the right side of the report. And on the launcher, we have, and also in the report, we have the icon and window title. We organize, or JUMP organizes content in panel boxes. And then on the left side, you have generally column selectors in filter column selector. And below that, sometimes you have these extra options. On middle, you have these buttons. And next to buttons, you have column list boxes where a user can collect the columns they want to analyze or perform actions with. And this button box name also tells you what these columns are used for. And then on the right side, you have the action buttons. And in the reports, the structure is commonly very vertical. In this case, I have stacked it as it's easier to see, in my opinion. And content is in a parent-child kind of structure, so a hierarchical structure, and it has been built commonly with outline boxes with these red triangles. Red triangle, this type of structure, because users can launch additional analysis from these red triangle things here. And then you have some sort of organization for the content, graph boxes, table boxes, and so on. But these type of structures users are familiar with, some users. When you're thinking about your tool and your users, think how they will use your tool. And for this, you can use storyboards, for example. It doesn't have to look like this diagram here. You can have it in, for example, a comic type format if you want. User has this type of view first, then they click something and next view and so on. And when you are building these, it's helpful, again, to think how JUMP platform would work. Because then, again, back to the familiarity. I won't go through this. This is just an example how it could be done. And few mock-up examples. So quick demonstration or first initial design you could have for your interface. And here I have very, very simple paper version. I like to start with these. They're very quick to modify, update if needed, and then you can recreate one if there's something wrong with this. I usually quickly go to some sort of JUMP version. This is very simplistic one, but I can try it out. Okay, this works and this doesn't, and modify it if needed. And then I can maybe use my template to make a bit more cleaner one to see it in how it would look in reality. Next mockup, similar idea, start with paper. Then I have used separate tool. In this case, this is called Excalidraw to make a mockup. I could have additional notes here and so on. And a bit more advanced JUMP prototype demonstration. This is already from the prototype application, but you could do this in parts. So have a data filter, then have some sort of graph builder. This can be totally separate. Then have some images from somewhere, if you are just considering this layout. Take those images, move them to separate tooling. I would use most likely PowerPoint. It's easy to move them around there. So you can structure it there and then get a better overview what the user interface could look like. Next, consider having templates and don't forget about user experience. I do have my own templates as scripting style, and why I have these and why I use them is to create apps faster, which are more robust, and they tend to look more professional. I do not, one additional note here is that I do not design my user interfaces for any larger resolution, or rather any smaller than Full HD, as most users are still using that or larger resolutions. And then the user experience. As JMP is very interactive tool, I think it's also important to consider user experience and not just the interface you have. I have a few examples of bad user experience here. One is modal windows. For example, if your platform launcher is a modal window, user cannot go back to the data table and observe which columns they should use. They will first have to close your launcher, go to the table, then rerun your launcher again. And that's, in my opinion, a bad experience. Other one is that windows tend to resize if you have collapsible outline boxes and so on. So I try to have static window sizes after the window has been initially created, and then scroll boxes to move around. And last thing here is that do not hide toolbars and menus from user, because in JMP you can launch separate platforms. You can have a platform open, go to your toolbar menu and launch next platform, which makes doing analysis much faster. Then comparing my platforms and JMP platforms. On top side, we have JMP platforms. In this case, it's a Neuro platform, and on bottom mine. Quite similar looking here. So left side column selectors, and then column listings where user adds them, actions on right side. I think the biggest difference here from the launcher in this case is that I have this table name, which is currently being analyzed. And in my newer platforms, I might have the application name also visible, not in this case. But there I have bigger differences than on reports. I don't have outline boxes because I already have basically all the options defined for the user. So they don't need the access to red triangle menus like in some platforms you want to access those. So I can use tab page boxes and sheet boxes. And I think even the bigger thing is that I do organize my content in horizontal way because we have wider screens and they are tall. In quite a few JMP platforms tend to go very long. And I like to make it wider because there's more estate that way. And also here, the table is also visible here and application name. Then one example application I have here. Okay, not the full example, but I'm going through a little bit. So this is basically the script user would run to run my application. I have separated different parts of the script with all their own responsibilities. Configuration, utilities, and user interface are in their own script files. Easier to manage in this way, in my opinion. Then the script, in this main script has initial checks if there are table open, if the window is already open, and if all of these pass, then the application is run. And depending a little bit on the check, I might throw a modal window error to user. And for example, if the window is already open, it's not a modal window. I will just bring the application to front so user can continue working with that. And here below is basically the main window after the application has been run. So this creates the application window. And these have been also separated here into separate expressions. Much easier to manage smaller expressions outside this new window than having very, very long, it could be hundreds of lines of new window code. Difficult to manage usually, and these are easier to handle. Sometimes you might have to do some evaluation when you build these, but generally, I think this is better. And you can find this example from community and a few extra examples that from a presentation I did in the Finnish user group in 2023. And some quick summary for this poster. So do mimic JMP platform launchers and reports as users are already familiar with them. And then it's faster for them to get used to your tool. Consider how your user will use your application. So build storyboards and create mockups to quickly see how it could look like. Have some sort of template so you can create robust and professional looking application. Get familiar with the most common display boxes and how to organize content in JSL. And as JMP is a very interactive tool, do not forget about the user experience because the interactivity is very important. So consider user experience and the user interface. Thank you.